Picture an empire so vast, so unstoppable, that it stretched from the misty shores of Britain to the scorching sands of North Africa, from the Atlantic coast of Spain to the heart of the Middle East. Rome, the embodiment of power, discipline, and an unshakable belief in its gods. But beneath the marble and might, something unexpected was stirring. A quiet revolution born not in palaces, but in the streets. A movement led not by kings, but by fishermen, outcasts, and a carpenter from Judea. A faith that defied emperors, shattered traditions, and spread like wildfire despite brutal persecution. How did this radical belief system, once the target of Rome's fiercest wrath, rise to challenge the very empire that sought to destroy it? And more importantly, did it help bring about Rome's downfall? Let's journey back in time and uncover the truth. Before Christianity, Rome was a deeply religious empire, but not in the way we think of today. Romans worshipped many gods: Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Religion wasn't just a belief system, it was politics, culture, and tradition all rolled into one. Worshipping the gods meant loyalty to the state. Roman religious practices were everywhere, from household shrines to grand state-sponsored temples. Public ceremonies honored the gods, and priests played key roles in government. Emperors were often deified, and to reject Roman religious customs was to reject Rome itself. But something was happening in Judea, a small Roman province. A man named Jesus of Nazareth was preaching a radical message of love, forgiveness, and a kingdom beyond Rome's grasp. His message attracted followers, but also enemies. The Roman authorities, fearing unrest, sentenced him to death. But his crucifixion wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. After the death of Jesus, his followers did something extraordinary. Instead of fading into obscurity, they spread his message across the Roman world. But how? Ironically, the very empire that sought to suppress Christianity had built the perfect system for its expansion. Rome's vast network of roads and sea routes allowed ideas to travel faster than ever before. Greek and Latin, the empire's dominant languages, meant that Jesus' teachings could be understood by people from vastly different regions. And in a world of political corruption and deep social divisions, Christianity offered something radical: hope. At first, Christianity was just one of many small sects within the diverse religious landscape of Rome. But it stood apart. Unlike the state-sanctioned pagan traditions, Christianity wasn't just about rituals and offerings, it was about transformation. It preached a deeply personal relationship with God, where salvation wasn't reserved for the powerful or the wealthy, but for anyone, slave or noble, man or woman, rich or poor. This message struck a nerve. It spread like wildfire among the disenfranchised, the poor, the enslaved, and the outcasts of Roman society. But it wasn't just the lower classes who were drawn in. Even some members of the Roman elite, disillusioned with the excesses and brutality of imperial life, began to embrace this new faith in secret. But with growth came danger. Christianity's rejection of the Roman gods and refusal to worship the emperor was more than just a religious statement, it was an act of defiance against the state. To the Roman authorities, this was treason. Under emperors like Nero and Diocletian, persecution reached horrifying levels. Christians were blamed for Rome's misfortunes, fires, plagues, and defeats in battle. They were hunted, arrested, and executed in the most brutal ways imaginable. Some were crucified, others burned alive to light the streets at night. In the Colosseum, they were torn apart by wild animals for the entertainment of bloodthirsty crowds. But something remarkable happened. Instead of destroying Christianity, these persecutions only made it stronger. Why? Because people saw the unwavering conviction of these believers. They saw men, women, and even children go to their deaths with an unshakable faith, proclaiming their hope in an eternal life beyond this one. Martyrs were not forgotten, they became legends. Stories of their sacrifices spread across the empire, inspiring more people to convert. What was meant to crush Christianity only made it a movement Rome could no longer ignore. The tides of history often turn on a single moment. And for Christianity, that moment came in the year 312 AD. At the heart of the Roman Empire, a power struggle raged. Constantine, a formidable general, sought to claim ultimate authority. But first, he had to defeat his rival, Maxentius, at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. The stakes were immense. Whoever won this battle would control the empire. Then, according to legend, something extraordinary happened. On the eve of battle, Constantine saw a vision, a glowing cross in the sky, accompanied by the words, "In hoc signo vinces," Latin for, "In this sign, you shall conquer." Some accounts say he saw it in a dream, others claim it appeared in broad daylight. But what mattered was his response. Constantine, a man raised in a world of Roman gods and military pragmatism, took this vision as divine instruction. He ordered his soldiers to paint the Christian symbol, the Chi Rho, on their shields. The next day, against all odds, Constantine triumphed. Maxentius' forces were overwhelmed, and he himself was thrown into the Tiber River, his lifeless body carried away by the current. Constantine was victorious. But what followed was even more shocking than the battle itself. Instead of persecuting Christians as past emperors had, Constantine embraced their faith. In 313 AD, he issued the Edict of Milan, declaring Christianity legal across the empire. For the first time, followers of Christ could worship openly without fear of execution. No longer were they outlaws in the shadows, their faith was now protected by imperial decree. With Constantine's support, Christianity transformed overnight. Lavish churches were built in major cities, Christian leaders gained wealth and influence, and once hidden worship services became grand public ceremonies. The emperor himself commissioned the construction of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome and supported the rise of bishops as powerful political figures. But not everyone welcomed this revolution. For centuries, Rome had been a land of many gods: Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Its strength, many believed, came from its religious diversity. To abandon the old gods was, to some, an act of betrayal. Philosophers and traditionalists saw Christianity as a threat to Roman identity. Some whispered that Constantine had doomed the empire by favoring a faith that preached humility over conquest, forgiveness over strength. Could Rome still be the Rome of old without its mighty gods? Tensions rose. Though Christianity was now legal, the empire was far from unified. The next great battle would not be fought on the battlefield, but in the hearts and minds of the Roman people. Would the empire's new faith bring salvation or division? With Christianity now legal, a new problem emerged: division. Different groups argued about the true nature of Jesus, the Trinity, and church leadership. The Council of Nicaea in 325 AD was meant to unify beliefs, but deep rifts remained. Meanwhile, old Roman traditions clashed with this new faith. Many in the elite resisted. The empire itself became split between those who embraced Christianity and those who saw it as a threat to Roman identity. By 395 AD, Emperor Theodosius made Christianity the official religion of Rome. Pagan practices were banned. Temples were destroyed. Rome, once tolerant of many gods, was now ruled by one faith. But this shift came with consequences. Pagan resistance groups formed, riots broke out, and factionalism deepened. As Rome struggled with invasions, corruption, and economic collapse, some blamed Christianity. Critics argued that abandoning the old gods had weakened Rome's warrior spirit. Others pointed to internal division. While Rome once stood united, it was now fractured by religious disputes. Barbarians exploited this division. Rome's armies, once invincible, were now composed of divided factions. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire had fallen. Was Christianity to blame? Or was it simply one of many factors in Rome's slow decline? Despite the fall of Rome, Christianity endured. In fact, it became stronger. The empire may have collapsed, but the faith it once tried to crush went on to shape the world. Monasteries preserved knowledge. The church became a powerful institution. Christianity spread beyond Rome, influencing kings, laws, and cultures for centuries. Today, over 2 billion people follow Christianity. It outlived the Caesars, the legions, and the Colosseum. What started as a small movement in Judea became one of the most influential forces in human history. So, was Christianity the reason Rome fell? Or was it the reason its legacy still lives on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe to Niger Trends TV, and hit the bell icon for more epic tales and stories from the past.